they are a group of South Asians from Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. They are known for Sama people or sea nomads, and also they are known the people who live underwater due to their the long time they spend under the water. Their population is about 1 million. They have been living the way they are living since 1960s. They live in 6 or 12 houseboats in tribal groups. Here are some general information about Bajau people. 95% of Bajau people are Muslims, the rest are Christians. They can dive more than 60 meters deep for 13 to 15 minutes. Their splines are 50% larger than average people. Their visuality, they are unique, and they are capable of staying a long time in water due to their visibility in water. See through water better than average people, and it's been inherited to their kids throughout their genes. They fear pirate attacks due to stealing boats, foods, and weapons. Their diet mainly consists, due to their living in water, their diet mainly consists of fish and seafood. Also, they use spear-headed to get their fish out of the water. They talk, their language is Bahasa Jiwa Bangsa, language بتاعتهم. They were founded after a mission of a Frenchman who was having a tour in Philippines, and he found these villages there. Let's go.
So now we're going to move on to the historical background and the identity of the Bajau people. So first we're going to discuss the history of the Bajau people, and then we're going to move on to their identity. So the Bajau people do not have an original history. It has only been oral traditions that have been told. So I'm going to discuss with you now what were the oral traditions. The first oral tradition mentioned in the article was that they went to the sea to flee war and died on land. This enormous flight of Bajau people explain why modern Bajau communities having coastal towns with boats and ships and routine networks thrive in numerous Southeast Asian countries. There are also other stories that have been told, that they were refugees from Johor, Malaysia, and then they stopped in Sulawesi, according to that old story. So as a result, those Bajau people exist in Comstock, that place, and then they now exist in one South. The other oral tradition was that they originated in Malaysia, and they were descendants of the dwarfs. Those people were tasked by their king to retrieve and return his daughter, who had run away. It has been told that they found her on an Indonesian island in Sulawesi, where she had decided to stay, and then those people decided to stay with her. However, the other traditional story was that the princess was engaged to another prince, which is Abu Ji's prince, who permitted her to, where then she permitted of chapters. Now that we history, we're going to move on to the Bajau people's identity. So the main identification point of the Bajau people is their language and religion. So their language is known as the Bahasa Shiwa Bangsa, which is for them known as the language is the soul of the nation. Is the main factor for their identification, as their history is rarely known and their location is very hard to determine because they are scattered everywhere. So these communities are categorized according to this language, and it's served as their sign of ethnic affiliation for the far-flung Sama Bajau when the Europeans first arrived in the 16th. The second part that determines their identity is their religion. So the Sama Bajau people had a bad reputation due to their name. However, they do profess themselves as Muslims. So the general wisdom is that the Sama Bajau people are Muslims, even though they don't follow the basic teachings of Islam or the principles. Islam is a very little identity of the Sama Bajau people as we know.
Okay, now on to the very unique lifestyle of Bajau people. Now, their diet consists of fruits and seafood, and they are very uniquely adapted to their own lifestyle, where all Bajau male villagers are fishermen, and they can dive more than 60 meters deep. As a result, many and the majority rupture their own eardrums due to very intense underwater pressure. They can see, their vision is clear underwater, which is acceptable to any young age in this type of community. They can hold their breath for 13 minutes straight, and an average Bajau fisherman dives for more than 5 hours a day. And for their physical appearance, the Bajau person's spleen is 50% larger than an average human's spleen, and the whole reason behind their lifestyle of living in water, this adaptation, is because of the lack of nationality that Bajau people have. And all of their weapons and fishing equipment and essentials, they are all handmade. Now, Bajau people, specifically both Bajau people that were mentioned in the beginning of this video, they rarely go on shore unless for fetching firewood, fresh drinking water, or trading fish on coasts, or the burying of a loved one, or because of threatening situations, which I will be explaining right now. Now, when it comes to a death of a loved one, in some Bajau tribes, the son carries an ill loved one who is an elderly most of the time, and they carry them to a nearby island where they leave them there until they die. When this loved one dies, the son of the elderly person or the ill loved one who just passed away comes back with a replica of a boat banca, and they place it over the elderly's grave, and this is some sort of belief that the elderly or the ill dead loved one will then find peace and happiness in some place in the afterlife. Now, another reason why both Bajau people tend to go on shore is because of pirate attacks. Now, living in water can be extremely dangerous, not just because of the pirate attacks, but also natural disasters. For example, high waves or like intense wind, and all of these many natural disasters can occur. However, pirate attacks are feared the most in these tribes because pirates tend to come with their own boats and are very violent, and they steal Bajau tribes' boats, food, and handmade weapons, and they leave the villagers to die. Now, there is also something called fish bombing, where the pirates tend to throw small pieces of dynamite in the water, which then kills sea corals, reefs, and fish, and it also infests the water. And as a result, the Bajau people tend to go onshore and abandon their own households and their own, sometimes even families, to save themselves. Now, many Bajau communities, such as in Kibo, they are living in coastal regions of Southeast Asia, and the male villagers are still trying to fish for a living. Now, hunger takes control over these type of villagers, especially in Cebu, and as a result, children go to markets to find like leftover, discarded, rotten fruits and vegetables for their own, and to sell for their own villagers. And even women take their own children and they go nearby like huge boats for passengers to throw them any type of money or food overboard, which can be extremely dangerous. Now, that was a small glimpse of the lifestyle of Bajau people, and yeah, it is quite fascinating and very unique, and not something you see every day in any type of community.
The Bajau in the past, they relied on fishing for trade. They would fish with spears and they would sell the fish that they collect, and that was their only source of income. But during the south wind season, which is from April to June, the Bajau would have no source of income, because during that season the tides were very high and there were no fish, so it was very difficult for them to collect fish and sell. So they had to find other sources of income, which is why now they are suppliers for many international companies. They collect shells, scales, seaweed, and pearls, and they trade them with Chinese middlemen. They also sell aloe, resin, and honey. They care for the mangrove trees and they sell their wood. The mangrove trees are very accessible for the Bajau because they grow in fresh water. They grow inside water, which is why wherever the Bajau go, they will always find mangrove trees to care for and to sell their wood. The Bajau communities do not stay in one place for a long time, because they are always scared of the Indonesian or Malaysian police to arrest them, the Indonesian Malaysian Marine Police. As for their present way of life, their way of life is still dependent on nature, like the ecological zone of the sea, the coral islands, and the coastal areas around them. They travel in small groups while having an elder in front leading them. The Bajau principles are independence, equality, and seniority. By independence, they mean that each person in the Bajau community has to be able to live on their own if they have to. They have to be able to fish, to eat, to trade, to sell. So each one has to learn the way of life and be able to be independent if they have to. By equality, they mean that they are all in one community and they all have the same rights and they are all equal, the same food, the same money, they're all getting. By seniority, they mean that there always has to be an elder that they all follow.
very natural, dependent on nature, which is something very rare in the world right now. It's very good that I like the way they live, because it is not affecting climate change and affecting global negatively. They also travel in small groups, like having the eldest one as their leader. They have very great principles like independence, equality, and seniority. The Bajau people, for me, should be our role models, and that we have to create things that is less dependent on technology and stuff like that. It was very interesting to know that there are some people who could really capable of living this.
To find more and more land to live on, the ancient tribes of the Uros and the Bajau are a reminder of a simpler time, a time where people had a much more intimate relationship with their environment, living with the water and not just exploiting it. These communities need to be celebrated and respected for their ability to coexist with some of the toughest landscapes of our grand Earth.